Good afternoon. Take a good hard look at that picture. I got that at Hobby Lobby a few years ago. And if you can't tell who that is, that's not only the greatest baseball team that's ever existed, that's possibly the greatest pitcher, at least in that one series, that one year. His name was Bob Gibson. Had a 1.12 ERA to set a major league record, I think in 1968. Now you're looking at me. Lucky for you. Today's proverb has to do with that a little bit because today's proverb is about how this year they're talking about if somebody has a 400 batting average or somebody sets an ERA record in baseball, or maybe somebody does something that nobody had. They're thinking of some of the Cy Young winners may win the Cy Young with as little as 5 or 6 or 7 wins on the season. And that's possible because they're playing a 60-game season. So a 7-game winner, if you extrapolate that over the course of a season, that's almost a 20-game winner. Why am I telling you that? Because pitching with a 1.12 ERA over 60 games is not the same as pitching over 162. Same thing with a batting average. You may not care about baseball. The point is, there are things that we think that are really important, and if we pollute those things, then it takes away some of the things that make them special. And what I've seen is that tends to be happening in American life, that we have things that are special and good and right, and wrong attitudes, sinful attitudes, personal selfishness, greed, kind of tend to color those things. Or we tend to tolerate things that we don't need to tolerate. I heard something recently about that a school close to here for their prom had as their king and their queen were two young ladies. One was king and one was queen. And as a society, we've come to just tolerate just about any behavior or anything that's okay. Well, today's proverb says this. This is Proverbs 25, verse 26. Like a muddied spring or a polluted fountain is a righteous man who gives way before the wicked. I don't think we have to fight every single battle, especially with the world. Paul says that if he was judging the world, he would have to leave it. That you're in the world but not of the world is kind of the idea. But at the same time, we need to defend what's right, in particular, to love one another, to tell the story of the gospel, to follow biblical principles in our life, and to know that that's what we've been called to do, even though we can't do it perfectly. So this may not make any sense. It made sense in my mind to show you the picture of Bob Gibson at the first, but my point is, if they let this year's records stand, if there are people that have superior numbers than previous years in baseball, then it cheapens the whole process, waters it down, muddies it, clouds it. To me, I see a parallel when we allow God's standards to shift, or we are not brave enough to stand up for what's right, even when there is quite a bit of opposition. So, don't be afraid to oppose the wicked, and don't let the wicked just have their way just because they want to have their way. Have some guts. That's all for today. I hope you have a great day, and I'm going to ask you to keep Olivia Whiteside in your prayers. I talked to Dion Manier this morning, and Olivia's not doing very well. She's got COVID and is having pretty serious complications with pneumonia in both lungs and blood clots in both lungs. She is not on a ventilator, but is possible to be put on one, and she's in the ICU in Columbia. So continue to pray for Olivia and Miss Martha, because Olivia was her primary caregiver. Miss Martha, Mr. Sam's younger sister, has come up from Mobile to take care of Miss Martha. And she has already had COVID, so she is not worried about going into the same house that Olivia was in. And so Miss Martha's taken care of, but continue to remember the whole Whiteside family, and particularly Olivia in this time. That's all for today. That bell means my time's up. Have a great rest of your afternoon and good weekend, and expect to hear from me again on Sunday. Thanks, and hope to see you there if you're able to come. Bye.